Are you going to buy something such as Plex? Always enter code Aceface into the Creator Code tab here. This makes it so that 5% of the earnings go to me and doesn't cost you anything extra. I would appreciate it a lot. Hello everybody, my name is Aceface. Previously, quite a while ago, I made a video on progression fits for the Abyss. So fits you can use from T0 and then preferable fits you can then upgrade to or work towards to be able to do the higher and higher tiers. So I wanted to make a new video because a lot of people liked it. I wanted an updated version. There has not really been much updates to the Abyss since then, but this is one that I would say I've discovered myself or sort of tried and tested myself, which I think might be a bit better than the ones I've linked previously. So this is to minimize the cost and also to be as effective as possible. However, one thing to keep in mind, this Abyssal progression fit, it puts a lot of emphasis on having high skills. What that means is, say you are someone who plays 24/7, then you're not going to really appreciate this fit so much because skill points take time. This is more a progression of fits that requires a little bit more than average skills, so that people who play only very little amounts in their free time, they can then benefit from the increased amount of skill points they'll be getting over time and still be able to be competitive. So we start off with the tried and tested Punisher. I've always been talking about the Punisher being a very good starting fit for the Abyss. I still think it is, and it's the exact same bit that I've been using for a long time. Many people also make fits on the Punishers, and I think it's just such a good ship to start off with. Easy, cheap, 3.6 million. Right now, some of the modules, especially those guns, are a little bit expensive, so they cost 4 million ISK. The skills for this are very basic. Use the link in the description down below. You can get like 1 million free skill points when you start a character. You can use some of those skill points, but you don't need to actually use much skill points at all. I buy the basic skill points that require you to fly the ship, and then I try to train as much skills as I can when it comes to the DPS skills. So we go into the gunnery, train skills here with energy turrets to be able to get about 100 DPS. Gunnery, 100 DPS. When I get that, then I feel very confident. And I start off in the T0 electrics. So T0 electrics are what this is going to be used for. They are quite expensive. You use 3 of them at a time. But the idea is that when you're using frigates, then you get 3 times the amount of ISK as you were to do it if you were to do it like in a cruiser. So say you do cruiser Abyss, you use 1 filament. If you do frigate, you use 3 filaments, but you get 3 times the amount of ISK. So you're sort of saving time in that manner because the T0 sites, they're so easy. So you may as well run them in a frigate. So that's the first ship. I keep grinding and grinding and grinding this. So there's some ways you can do here. But what I would do is, while I've got this Punisher, I wouldn't invest too heavily into the Amar and laser skills. I'll just do enough so that I can get the sites done quickly and feel reasonable in my ability to tank them and destroy them quickly. So 100 DPS I would recommend to get, but more is always better. More tank is always better. But I would actually prefer that you focus on training skills that focus on missiles and shields, because that's where the next set of ships go in. It'll be a shield and missile based ships, and also drones, but mainly shields and missiles. So shield skills, want to train these up because the next fit will be a hawk fit. This one here. All these fits will be in the description down below. But this is the next fit we're going to be using. So train up those shield skills, particularly the ones that affect your shield, so like shield compensation, operation, management, and especially the emissions one, because it'll benefit the shield boosters' effectiveness. Less capacitor will be used here. So that's something that'll be really good. Also, the EM shield compensation skill, get that up because it'll make this EM shield amplifier be quite a bit better. And then when it comes to offensive skills, I try to max out those rockets as quick as possible because that is needed for this one. You can go with the Tech 1 rocket launchers, but then I'd only recommend this ship to be used in Tech 1. You can go with the Tech 1 rocket launchers, and that comes to which filament type to use. So you can start off in the T1 Darks in this fit here. T1 Darks is a good starting point with the Tech 1 rocket launchers. You get about 200 DPS, I would say. It's hard to say the exact the cutoff, but I would say at least 200 DPS with the Scourge or the higher DPS ammunition type of the faction ones if you're using Tech 1. So then you could use the Caldari Navy Scourge. I'd say try to get 200 DPS. I know it will be difficult, but that's something I think you should strive for when starting out. Do the T1s, get as good skills as possible into the shields and DPS, and also try to add a little bit of mobility as well in the afterburner so that you can go a little bit quicker as well. So that'll be good. So the T1 Darks, the reason T1 Darks are good is because they have a reduction in the optimal range of turrets. So you're going to be able to avoid the damage a lot easier because the NPCs, they have a lot shorter range. You can just cruise around and avoid the damage a lot easier. It doesn't affect missiles, so you're going to be able to go around and use your missiles of your Hawk pretty easily. So another reason is because the calm dark filaments is what the T1 darks are. They're quite cheap. You see, they're cheaper than the T0 electrics we saw before. So that's one reason I would go for these. They also allow the survivability of the Hawk to be very good. So then you have to max out these skills. I would say max out, really get some good skills going on. Get a high Caldari frigate, get Assault frigates to level 4 at least. When you've got that and you've got the Tech 2 rocket launchers, get the specialization skill up to as high as you can. Then I would say go to T2 Darks. You need to have good skills before you go into T2 Darks. I can't emphasize that enough, but T2 Darks is what you want to use. So the Agitated Dark. Now this is actually a lot cheaper than the T1 Darks, the Calm Darks, because these are a lot harder to run, but they'll give you tons of ISK. This is really good. You'll be using the same way as we said before with a frigate, 3 filaments, but you'll be getting so much ISK this way. You'll be able to earn back this ship. The whole ship is worth 60 million ISK with the Tech 2. It'll be a little bit cheaper if you were to do the Tech 1 rocket launchers, but the fit will be earned back in an hour. Depending a little bit on your RNG, it can be plus minus. I have at least earned it back multiple times within an hour. So it is a really good fit. In my opinion, this is actually one of the most competitive fits you can use when it comes to return of investment at all in the game. Because of how cheap it is, 60 million ISK, and you can earn about, it really depends a lot on your luck and what kind of loot you get, but it can be like 50 million ISK, 60 million ISK an hour, even sometimes even more depending on your loot drops. So for the amount of cost of the ship, for what you get, it's a really good ship, not just in the Abyss, but overall. Something that I think you should do is, while you're training your skills, you're doing the T1 Darks, working up to do the T2 Darks with this Hawk, you should probably go and do some PI skills. That is just a little side note, but it could be very good to have some basic PI going on in a nullsec corporation. Just make it apply to a corporation that has a nullsec region that is safe. An example could be Brave Empire, the corporation I'm in right now, because they allow you to be in high sec. They are not able to be war declared because they don't own any structures, but they're still allied to multiple corporations in nullsec, allowing you to go into their space free. I'm sure there's lots of other corporations that you can do it, but that's just an example. So you'd set up some PI there, because that allows you to be, with very minimal management, you can set up a setup. So the layout I use is a really basic layout I would use, and I've even got a template for this so you can easily use it. I don't have to go into that. That's a whole nother video, but look in the description down below. It is like a copy paste of a link or like a bunch of code, and this allows you to then set up the PI very quickly. So I would do that, import it, and just get it going in your nullsec systems, because then you can have about 400-500 million ISK per month coming in and allowing you to get the future ships in this like progression a lot quicker. So that's something I would definitely do. While I'm doing the T1 Darks, get PI going, because it's really profitable to do PI, especially in a chill manner. So that's what I'd be doing. Then eventually get to T2 Dark. So you're using this here, you're earning also more active ISK gear. That'll be really good. As I said before, make sure you have very good skills, minimum 300 DPS when you're going with this Hawk Fear and the T2 Darks, in my opinion. You can also use this for T2 Exotics. They go quicker. T2 Exotics, they have a reduction in the kinetic resist, so you're able to actually do them quicker than the T2 Darks. However, the T2 Darks are quite a bit safer because of what I was talking about before, the reduction of the enemy turret range, so you're able to avoid damage a lot easier. So it's a lot safer to go for the T2 Darks. Okay, so you're grinding a lot of T2 Darks. You probably perhaps have started to get a little bit of income from PI, maybe nothing crazy because you're focusing on mainly training this stuff. But if you've got a little bit of PI in the background, then you'll probably very soon be able to earn your first proper ship. Now, My first proper ship would be the Gila. I know it sounds very overused, but Gila is just a really well tried and tested ship that is very powerful. Now, the first one I'll do is this T4 hybrid T4 Firestorm. Now, this is a really good ship, not because it's a really good ship of in itself, but it's a very good ship for the price, because this can do the T4 Firestorms at 520 million ISK. Really good. It's a hybrid fit using a shield booster and passive shield from the tank here. So that's why I'm talking about. Train your missiles, train your shield skills, but also, if you can, and you should, train your drone skills. I would not recommend starting to do this if you've not got Tech 2 drones. You need to have Tech 2 drones, you need to have very good drone skills before you take on the T4 Firestorm with this fit, because this fit is relying on you having very good skills. So again, as I said before, we're having heavy skill focus in this whole tier of ships here. It's not like someone could just jump into this, because this is more towards casual players who are just playing on and off, who are able to accumulate a lot of skills over a lot of time. So you want to get a lot of skill points here, and then you can do the T4 Firestorm in this. It works really well. It can be difficult. You need to be skilled in the Gila. So I'd recommend, if you're unsure about this, take this in T3 Firestorm first to get a lot more used to it. And then when you feel very confident, go in the T4 Firestorm. But it's definitely possible. I know a lot of people say it doesn't work, but it really does work. I've had so much success with this. Earned this ship back so many times in its value in the T4 Firestorm. So what would I do then after this? Then after this, you've got a bit of a grind ahead of you. Then what would I do after this? After this, I'll take the same fit here, but I would go for T5 and T5 Gammas. T5 Gamma Easy. So this is very similar to the previous ship we had, but it has C-type multispectrum, and then we've got where it's got a C-type multispectrum. That's the biggest change we've got. We've got altered drones here, so we've got Valkyries. This makes it so that we're going to be able to do more damage to the NPCs in the Gamma size, because the Gamma size have reduced explosive resist. Now this is basically like a beefier version of the previous T4 hybrid Gila we had before, with the extra multispectrum here. A lot stronger variant, you could say. And also the Gamma sights, they boost our shield, total shield HP pool. So we're going to be so much tankier than we otherwise would be. If we were to go and say a Firestorm here, well, we're going to be, say it says 55k, it'll be much higher EHP in the Gamma size. So we're going to be tankier. You have to be very careful, because this is also a site which requires you to have high skills. There are some waves, Triglavian waves, they can make your shield go very down, and it's very important that you focus on the high DPS waves, destroy stuff as quick as possible, like Vedmax, Kikimoras. These are all high priority targets. But it definitely works. I've earned a ton of ISK from using this fit, but you need to be careful. Make sure you are careful and destroy the relevant targets, and you should have a good idea of what to destroy in the Abyss by now. If you're curious on the priority list of destroying targets in the Abyss, I made a separate video on Abyss priority target, like what's the most important NPC to destroy in the Abyss, depending on which room. So that's this one, T5 hybrid Gamma Gila, a very strong T5 ship, but also you need to be highly skilled in both your character and also piloting skills. So then what would I do then? You've now got PI probably going on, and then you've got tons of ISK rolling in from this T5 Gamma. The last ship is the T6 Exotic Gila. So this is a very different fit than what we were using previously. This is using fully active, so no passive. Dual cat batteries, Thurifire, Thucker cat battery, A-type multispectrum here. A very expensive ship, using implants as well. Now in this fit, we do not have implants listed, so I should list them here. But this requires you to use a full high-grade crystal implant set. So the actual price is probably going to be deeply close to maybe 7 billion ISK. But this can do the T6 exotics, and the reason for the exotics is because you run them so fast. The exotics have reduced kinetic resist, and you're going to be able to run them so quickly. And you earn so much ISK from this. Up to 450 million ISK now. It's a really good experience doing the T6 exotics, but requires a large investment. So it's really good, but requires a lot of work and effort to get there. But eventually you'll get there. So that's how I do it. Start off in the T0 Punisher, work my way to a Hawk, start off in T1 Darks, then gradually maybe try to accumulate some PI skills and then work towards a T2 Dark Hawk I'm assuming it takes a long time. I'm not saying you jump into one day and then the next day you jump to T2. Not at all. I'm talking about like a matter of maybe like a few weeks, maybe even more, depending on how many skills your character's got. And then eventually you work your way to get a T4 hybrid Firestorm Gila, and then you've probably got a little PI going on maybe, and then you're able to afford T5 Gamma Gila, grind a lot, and then you can probably get a full-on PI setup going on, and eventually you'll be able to get your T6 exotic Gila, which will earn you 450 million ISK now, approximately. So that's my current preference to Abyssal progression right now. It might change in the future. There might be other fits that you can. There are many other fits you can do. This is just one way to progress into the Abyss. Let me know what you think about this in the comments down below. I'd be very curious to know what you think. But these fits are tried and tested. Just keep in mind, I try and test them with relatively high skills, and that's why I emphasize a lot here. High skills are required for these ships, depending on which film you do. So, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you learned something new. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe. I'll catch you guys later.